Let's move on to main topic number 3. And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by Sam Sprill, who writes, "Hey, John. Ari Aster, director of Hereditary and Midsommer, recently did an interview saying that his next project could be a 4-hour nightmare comedy. I don't see people rushing to see a 4-hour movie in theaters. Will this be another director's cut just like Midsommar, which had a 3-hour cut, or could this go straight to theaters? Thoughts?" All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And yeah, listen, Ari Aster is a really interesting filmmaker right now because those two films alone, right? First of all, Hereditary was fantastic. How Toni Collette did not get an Academy Award nomination for her performance in Hereditary to this day baffles me. Absolutely baffles me. I would go so far as to call her lack of a nomination a snub because going into the announcements of the Academy Award nominees, I actually thought she had a chance to win Best Actress. I thought it was a foregone conclusion she's getting a nomination. I thought she had a chance to win. So to this day, I'm really shocked she didn't get a nomination. Anyway, that said, then he went on and did Midsommar. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you, I'm one of the guys who I didn't really appreciate Midsommar. I didn't hate it, but I didn't appreciate it that much. And it's one of those films. It's one of those films that a bunch of people either love or hate. A few people like me kind of in the middle, but I was not a big fan of it. But, oh my God, it is a movie that got people talking. Like everybody who saw Midsommar talked about Midsommar, right? Everybody talked about it. That's what that movie does. It got you thinking and it got you talking. Whether you liked it or not, it got you talking. So he's a really interesting filmmaker. So he put out some, not surprisingly, fairly interesting thoughts. He came out and said his next thing will be a nightmare comedy. A nightmare comedy. Which I'm okay. That sounds like it would be kind of consistent. Maybe move a little bit more humor into that. I mean, there was a little bit of humor in his previous films, but yeah, go nightmarish, which you're clearly good at. Throw in some comedy, why not? That's not the part that's catching people's attention, though. The part that's catching people's attention is this whole notion of 4 hours long. 4 hours long. It's so abrupt when you come across those words, 4 hours. It's so abrupt that it actually leaves me thinking like there's not even any point in discussing should he do it as a 4-hour film. And the reason I don't even think it's worth having the discussion of should he do it as a 4-hour film is because I don't think there's any chance in the world that any studio will let him do this as a 4-hour film. I can't see any studio saying, yeah, go do this as a 4-hour film, because the studios do it and then they go to the movie theaters. Hey, can you put our movie on a bunch of screens? The movie theaters are going to go, is this $1 billion film? No. Then why would we want to take up that kind of real estate? Like 4 hours, 4 hours. No, no way. I just can't see it happening. The only way I can see this being a 4-hour film and him actually being able to do it and make it as a 4-hour film. And by the way, I could be dead wrong about this. Maybe a distributor has already said, yep, you can do it as a 4-hour film and it's all set. That could be the case. Here's why I don't think it is, though. This is why I don't think it is, why I don't think it makes any sense. Because studios know that'll turn off a bunch of audience and theaters won't want. Theaters will push back because that limits their amount. When you limit the amount of screenings that a theater can do, that means you limit how many people they can bring into the theater. When you limit how many people you can bring into the theater, that limits how much popcorn, soda, and candy they sell. And that's how movie theaters make their money. So there will get pushback from the movie theaters, I think. The only way I can see, there's only 2 scenarios here that I see that this could be a 4-hour movie, whatever this movie is, this nightmare comedy. Scenario number 1 is exactly what you just said in your message. Is this a director's cut thing? Where he makes it as a 4-hour movie, but what gets released is a 2.5-hour movie. I could see that happening. The 2.5-hour movie gets released, and then they do the big celebratory, look everybody, because director's cuts are now the big thing. Look everybody, this is a whole 90 extra minutes. I could see that happening. I could see that happening. The second possibility here is that it's not a theatrical release film. There's a lot less restrictions on how long you make a movie when you're just going to put it on a streaming service. If you're just going to dump it on a streaming service, there's fewer limitations there, right? Because people at home can watch 45 minutes of it, hit stop, go out, do whatever they're going to do that night, come back, watch another 30 minutes before bed, stop it, go to bed, wake up the next day, watch another hour of it the next day, stop it. I mean, you can do that. You don't have to worry about how many hours is one movie taking up one of our screens. You don't have to worry about that. Now, that's not to say that as an audience, you don't feel the length of the movie. Listen, I liked Irishman very, very much. You guys saw me review it. I liked Irishman a lot, but it was longer than it needed to be. It didn't need to be that long. It just simply didn't need to be that long. And when you get into a movie that is that length, that didn't need to be that length, like some movies are 3.5 hours long that need to be that long. Irishman wasn't one of those films. And I felt the length of it. So I'm not saying there's no drawback to having an exceptionally long movie on home streaming. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying there are less drawbacks doing it on home video release as opposed to a theatrical release. There are less limitations. So yeah, I can only see, even though it very well could happen, I can only personally see two scenarios here in which a 4-hour thing gets done. Number one, it's done as a director's cut to a 2.5-hour release. Number two, it's a straight to streaming video. If that's the case, then I think it's more probable. But I don't know. Guys, what do you think? He's saying he's going to make a 4-hour long nightmare comedy. Do you think that can work? Do you think it's going to happen? What do you think about my proposal about there's only two real scenarios that it could? Maybe you can think of others. Jump down into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right.